You're not changed.
Yeah, my sister lives in Arizona, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I have to always remember now that she's not in the same time zone right now, only for half the year, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got enough people here that we can get started. I'm sure there'll be a few stragglers. Mohammed, do you mind any like AI bots? We can just remove them. We do record these sessions, by the way, for everybody's benefit. So, if you want to, you find them on our community site, um, and you can follow it there. Um, all right, Mohammed, can you get rid of transcriptor, the
Uh,
transcriptor bot?
okay.
Thanks. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all coming out. I've got something pretty exciting planned for today to talk to you about and show you how to use. I don't know how many of you have tried this, but I just I think I fall in love with my newest outbound call script. So I'm going to show that to you today. Um,
Great.
just as a reminder, like our mission is really to make this as easy as possible for all businesses. That's why our slogan is AI voice made simple, and literally businesses made better. Um, Ava is our AI voice calling platform for both inbound and outbound calling, and we integrate with CRMs. GHL is just where we started, folks. That's where we are at right now. But our integration ambitions lie beyond that. And we'll be doing more and more integrations in other platforms and other, not just in CRMs, but also other tools. Just talking tonight to somebody who has a platform that lists property data. And we're looking at that as well. So there's like lots and lots of opportunities to do integration. And we have a robust set of APIs as well to allow that to happen. Nico is our GHL version and is our best of class with AI voice integrated into it that we offer to our clients. And it's got Thinker.ai tech at its core. So with that introduction, um, sorry, can we just hold the questions till I'm gonna go through that. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, so I'm gonna go through all of this, and then we'll be able to take questions. And I want to take lot of questions, so that's why I want to keep on schedule. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is how to launch a voice AI sales rep in under 10 minutes. All right. And then we're going to look at some new team management features that we have for our WFG agents that we've launched as well. These are in the financial advisor world. And then the third bit is what I'm now branding as our Thinker Think Tank, which is where you can bring your questions and we can go through all of them. So, we have now a Thinker Think Tank, and we can all of you here are part of that think tank where we're going to come together and work together to answer questions, think strategically, and build out new things within the space of AI voice. So on that note, are you all with me? Yes? All right, let's get started.
Yar.
Yar. All right. So how to launch a voice AI sales bot or rep in under 10 minutes. And this is one of the things I love about what we've done with Ava is we've made it really, really simple. And when we look at a sales rep and an outbound sales rep, it's an outbound calling project. Again, there are three parts to this that we have within the platform of Ava. One is you get to choose the AI agent or the voice that you want to use. That's where you get to have fun listening to the voices. You get to pick them out. We are actually adding another 20 voices to the Ava platform next week for you to select and to use. So you'll have more time to spend, selecting your favorite one for the favorite use case that you want to use it for. Um, then you pick out a scenario, and the scenario is again another one of those things that we've come up with at Thinker that allows you to easily create a voice agent to do the task that you want to do. We consider ourselves a little bit more like opinionated on what that looks like rather than being completely open and allow you to, do a lot of the prompting and all that. We think that makes it easier for businesses to just come in and start building solutions. And for a lot of you who are agents to just go back and build repeatable things that you can distribute, create snapshots, and start deploying to your. Now, the third part is campaigns. Campaigns is a fancy way of saying who is the audience and which contact specifically are you actually reaching out to? All right. So when you think about the people that you want to call, this is what I call, there's a fancy word for that. Does anybody know what that word is? It's called segmentation. So a lot of people call them segments, right? It's a fancy way of saying select people or contacts based on some type of attribute or profile. This could be where they're located geographically. This could be data like where you met them, at which event within your CRM. This could be data such as age, gender, all of these things, whether they have a family. It's how you kind of slice and dice your contacts within your CRM. So that's what the campaigns helps you do. It says, okay, well, you can now call this group. Why do you want that? Because guess what? You can fluctuate the agent, the scenario, and the campaign based on that information, right? So that's the flexibility that we built into this. So today, the sales rep that I've selected to pick is going to be for the HVAC industry. It's one of my favorite industries to talk about. It's also one of the ones that's extremely popular right now. There's a lot of opportunities for AI voice in this particular industry. And Scott's shaking his head, so he agrees with me. He's in that space as well, I know. And I did not pick this in any collusion with Scott, I promise. So what we've come up with here is a kind of a use case that talks about a sales rep that's going to call, it's going to lead a conversation, it's going to qualify, it's going to educate, and it's going to go through that with some leads that came through a website, so a contact form on a website. And this voice bot's going to call back out and talk to them, the sales rep. Now, it's going to talk about all of the various advantages of what they do and how they do that. Some of the key steps to this particular call that you're going to notice is like, first, you got to think about, okay, there's an initial contact. So you want to talk, you want to introduce yourself, right, on the call. Then you want to actually do a little bit of qualification while you're on the call, right? This is how a sales rep works. And then they have to present what is the value proposition of the offer that they're calling about in the first place. So that's part of it. And then, of course, what happens is people have objections, right? How do I handle objections? How do I take that? That's the other part that you need to kind of have in any kind of a sales rep that calls out. And then lastly, you want to make sure that they can actually close the deal. So that means can they book the next step, book the next appointment, and get them into talking to finalize it. So why is this important for somebody in the HVAC business? Well, think about it. This helps them automate the sales process, right? They no longer need to do all this. So the minute the lead form comes in, right away, there's a call that goes out and can qualify that lead and book that appointment with them. It improves, of course, conversion because there's no lead that's not getting a call back, right? You're not going to do that. You're going to enhance the customer experience because the prospect is getting a call right away, right? So when I fill out on an HVAC website, I'm actually looking for something. That's an intentful, very, very purposeful call. And then the next thing is it will drive revenue up. Absolutely. For our HVAC industry. So when you go and present this to your HVAC companies, this is how you can present to them.
Click on My Account in the top menu bar to register or log in.
Thank you. Can we yeah, thanks, David. All right, we'll continue. So from an impact for business, this is what we think will happen. 30% increase in appointment bookings, 50% faster lead qualification process, higher customer retention because you've done that through a very positive, through a very proactive engagement process. All right. So now that I've kind of talked to you about what we're doing, let's go back and actually look at how we would make that in Ava. You guys ready for this? All right. Good. All right. So for those of you who have been to Ava before and seen it, this is how the Ava home screen looks like. And we have two parts to it when you come in. It's very obvious. One is you have this part called active agents. This is your inbound agents, right, guys? And then you've got your outbound projects. Now, when you go to build this part, I've already pre-built this, but before I show you how it's pre-built, I'm going to show you how you would start and how you would get selected to do this, all right? So you come in here and click on add a new project, right? Give this a name. So I'm going to call this HVAC sales agent Rep number 2. This is the part where you can actually give it a description. And I'm finding more and more as I'm creating more and more of these scenarios, I like to give it a description. I want to remember why I'm doing it. So this is a sales rep. To call back clients from my contact form on my website. Something as simple as that, just so you can remember what and how you're using it, right? And then you come and say, okay, which scenario? Now I know which scenario I want to use, and this is the one that I think you're gonna. I've like I said, I'm starting to just fall in love with it because um, when I listen to it, it makes me remember things that I forgot about. Sorry, it's this one, the generic sales closer. Okay, and click on Save Project. So, what is a project composed of? Well, it's composed of the scenario. So I just picked the scenario, and it's composed of the campaigns, right, that I talked about. Of course, the last part, which we'll talk about, is the agent. So I'm going to go and show you that pre-created this before, rather than to copy and paste a bunch of stuff in front of you guys. I'll show you how it works. So here is the way that I've populated it. I made a company called Cool Comfort HVAC. That's the company name. The product or the service category. So this is HVAC maintenance, plans, repairs, system upgrades, and the product or the services is home services and HVAC. So here's the first part of it, of the call. How are we going to introduce ourselves and how we're going to set up the call, right? Who are we representing? I give it a what it's selling, right? So our maintenance plan of $29.99. The reason for the meeting. What is the value proposition of meeting? This is the same stuff that if you go and look at like the standard scheduler, you're going to see, but now we're using it in a more strategic sales closer. What is part of the key inclusions of your offer? And what are the key benefits? And also, what are the long-term value of this? Because when you're pitching, you're going to want to have all those things at your fingertips. You want to also make sure that they know what the next step is in that sales process. And then in case it's asked, what are the key benefits that you're offering or specific benefits? Lastly, anything that has to do with objection handling, put that into this particular field. All right. And lastly, assign the calendar that you want to do it for. That brings us to the campaign, which is the third element. Now, when you click on a new campaign, this is when you get to pick out your agent and the voice that you want to use. And all the voices are here. This is where you're going to find the new ones next week. And again, you can give the campaign a description. Why might you want to give the campaign a description, guys?
Other than for your own notation.
Other than for your
I
own
mean,
notation.
see, yeah,
But
I mean,
it's your own notation, but about what you're
Yeah.
trying to know.
and that way it ideally would tell the bot like why you're doing what you're doing, I would assume.
Ah, interesting. No, it's actually meant to help you think strategically. So when we created campaigns, we talked about segments, right? Well, if you got
Mhm.
segments, you also got voices that you can pick. So what you can also do with this is if you want to start, like any client that you start working with, what you want to do is make sure they don't start calling 2,000 people on the first day. Why? Because you want to A/B test things. So you're going to say, give me 50 clients that are like really warm and 50 clients that are not so warm. You can have warm leads and cold leads, and then try the same call on them and see how they performed and see what the data tells you. You want to be data driven and you want to use that. And Ava is meant to help you do that. And this is where this approach really comes into help, right? So you can now separate those out into different kind of campaigns to do that. I'm going to go into this campaign that I simply call a campaign one. After giving you that tip, I'm just going to tell you that what I did, which is just called a campaign one. But so the other thing to note is when you create a campaign, it makes a copy of all the configurations that you did at the project level. Why do we do that? Because if you do create two campaigns with two different segments and you want to tweak the language a little bit to see if one performs better than the other, this is your way of doing that. All right. So I've fallen also in love not just with this scenario, but also with our newest feature. I don't know if you guys have been playing with it or not, but I highly, you know, invite you to do so. It's our web color. I'm going to call this now and make sure you guys can hear it. Do you have sharing on for sound? I hope we have. Let me just double check that before I go and play this actually. Just a quick second here. I'll go back and share this. I didn't, so it's good that I checked that. All right. Ready? Let's go. Please keep yourself mute. This call is going to take a few minutes though, because this is a closing call. So let's go for it. Hello.
Hi, this is Julia from Cool Comfort HVAC. I'm reaching out because we noticed you expressed interest in improving your home's comfort and energy efficiency. Is this a good time to chat?
Yeah, actually, it's a great time. I've got a great audience here.
That's wonderful to hear. We specialize in providing top-tier HVAC maintenance and system upgrades tailored to your home's needs. Our goal is to ensure your system runs efficiently and cost-effectively. I'm calling to explore the possibility of booking a time with you and John Smith. We'd like to discuss how our HVAC services can help you save money, extend the life of your system, and keep your home comfortable all year round. By the end of this call, I'll help you determine the best HVAC solution for your needs and provide a clear, no obligation quote. Before we proceed, I have a few quick questions to ensure we can best assist you. Is that okay?
That's great. Yeah, go ahead.
Great. What are your main goals regarding HVAC maintenance plans, repairs, and system upgrades?
I'm not sure I really understand that question. Could you repeat it?
Of course. I'm interested in understanding what you're hoping to achieve with your HVAC system. Are you looking to improve energy efficiency, reduce repair costs, upgrade to a newer system, or something else?
Definitely the energy costs. I would love to, be good on the environment.
That's a fantastic goal. Improving energy efficiency not only helps the environment, but can also significantly reduce your utility bills. Why is achieving better energy efficiency important to you?
I care about the environment, and also like I'd like to bring my costs into control if I can.
That's a great approach. Controlling costs while being environmentally conscious is a win-win. What's been the biggest obstacle in reaching these goals so far?
Well, the house is old and I just have been waiting on doing this, just, from a price perspective and also a timing perspective, just haven't got a chance around to get to it.
I understand. Balancing cost and timing can be challenging, especially with an older home. So you want to improve energy efficiency and control costs, but the age of your home and timing have been obstacles. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
This sounds like it's had a significant impact on your energy bills and perhaps your comfort at home. Are you ready to change that?
I am. I'm ready for no more cold winter days.
Imagine achieving that cozy, warm home during winter without the worry of high energy bills. How would that change your situation?
Well, I'd have a happier family and we'd be warmer.
That sounds wonderful. Our home services HVAC at Cool Comfort HVAC is designed to help you get there. We focus on keeping you comfortable year round, lowering your environmental footprint with energy efficient systems, and increasing your home's resale value with a modern HVAC system. Our clients have gone from dealing with high energy costs and discomfort to enjoying a warm, efficient home. Based on what we've discussed and the level of value we provide, our maintenance plans start at just $29.99 per month, and we have flexible payment options for upgrades or new system installations. This includes annual maintenance checkups, priority scheduling for repairs, and discounts on parts and labor. Does this sound like a solution that could work for you?
You know what? That actually sounds affordable. That's great.
I'm glad to hear that. Based on our discussion, I believe our home services HVAC can help you achieve your goal of a warmer, more energy efficient home. Do you agree?
I do. Yep, I do agree.
Let's move forward. The next step is I'll help you schedule your first maintenance service or consultation. From there, we can customize a plan or quote for your home. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Great. Let's schedule a time for you to meet with John Smith. What day works best for you?
All right, and the rest of you guys have heard that part of it before, so I'll stop now. So what do you think? How was that? Yeah,
Love the
like she literally took us end to end, was proactive, stayed on topic, but was able to be respond. Like the way when I asked a question about, I said I'm cold, the way she was able to respond to that. Just it really every time I kind of do something like this, I'm always throwing a new twist into the script to see how it'll handle it. And I'm always surprised at how like on target, how it makes me feel like it understands what I just said. And yes, this is a little bit of a longer call, but for a hot lead and somebody on a HVAC site, this translates into a close, meeting right away. So I think that, this is definitely well worth it. This is actually based on the Alex Hormozzi framework, the closer framework that he's written, which if you notice, there's a lot of mirroring and a lot of like making sure that people understand what's going on. So that's how you can, and honestly, building this bot and going through the whole thing took less than 10 minutes to build out. And you can do that on the platform. So again, shows you how quickly you can do these things. Once you build this once, you can again put this into a snapshot and you can, again, redistribute this to all of your clients without any problems. So that was our first demo. I'm gonna in terms of like breaking this up, I'm gonna just continue because I know if I start opening the door up for a question period, you're gonna ask me all other types of questions. So we'll leave that for the thinker think tank, and we'll get into that there. But definitely keep your questions ready on this particular thing. I want to introduce one more thing here. I want to go back here. And you know us, we're always rolling out new features. We're always doing new stuff. So this week's set of new features actually is going to showcase things that we did for our WFG clients. And it's also going to share with you some of the ways that we're integrating Ava into GHL. All right, so let's talk about that. And what we've done is we've created a whole set of new team management features for our WFG clients. All right. So I know we have at least one on this call here, right? A few others too. And a lot of them listen to this webinar. So I want to make sure that they see this. We've added a brand new pipeline that we've created and made bespoke for all WFG clients. This means that when you're starting off your business and you get new recruits, you can now easily manage them as recruits, go through the process of seeing them as a fast start, then go into exams, newly licensed, trainers, and then terminated. This is all managed in a beautiful pipeline that we've set up for you within Nico. The second part that we did, we added a line where they automatically add the recruits into this pipeline of having one-on-one meetings with you. So why is this helpful or why is this valuable? One of the things we try to do is just make the thinking less. And through automation, what we can do here is we can automate people calling people out to book that one-on-one session with their trainer. And that's what we did right here. So if you are, and I'm going to use some WFG language now, if you are a SMD or an MD, right, you'll be able to have your new recruits come into here and automatically get a call and book an appointment with you. And we maximize that out to whatever configuration you want. So if you want that to be for 3 only a week or 10 a week, we can configure that. And you'll get 10 appointments in your calendar. So not only is this now Ava being used to kind of bring in business, but now it's here to bring operational efficiency into your organization and make sure that none of these hard-earned recruits are actually, after you've got them on your team, feeling neglected. They're getting the attention that they need through this new feature. And then we made a very easy way for recruits to onboard through a recruit form that they can share. And again, that adds a lot of automation, a lot of profile tagging. So that's the new team management features that we've done. Do you guys want to see how we did the Ava integration aside? Sure. Yeah? All right, cool. I'm gonna switch screens here. All right. We're going to go into some of our automation. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just how that looks. So when I was talking about the team management side, we basically added a pipeline that allows you to see all of your contacts as they get added. There'll be an opportunity created here, and they'll be managed within each one of these pipelines, or one of these stages, pardon me. And as you move them from one stage to the next stage, they are getting tagged, untagged. So you know exactly which stage they're in, and you can drive automations through that. So we're going to go, and then the other pipeline, since we're here on this page, is the one-on-one sessions. Again, it's a very simple pipeline to see who the reminders booked, who booked an appointment, who did not book an appointment. So you can easily see if somebody's being missed out or not. And when we're talking about these types of businesses and these organizations, you're talking about anywhere from 30 to 50 people at any given time that'll be in this pipeline. That's a lot of people to start managing through to make sure you get appointments. So we've added that value prop, and there was a real win with using Ava in here. Let me show you that. So our one-on-one meetings has an automation to come in based all on the tagging, and then we'll put them into a drip mode, right? So you can do this in GHL, wait 1 minute, and then based on conditions, which is basically looking at the different tags that they're in, decide what opportunity to create, what email to send out to them, because we also send them multi-channel communication, and then we make that outbound call. And this is exactly what you'll see inside the Ava platform, but now you're seeing it here inside of GHL, where we have an action that allows you to put in the phone numbers. You can again pick the assistant and the voice that you'd like. So we picked Paul here. It's pre-programmed to the number that's inside of Ava. And now we use the standard scheduler. The standard scheduler is the utilitarian that I always go to when it comes to scenarios, because it just fits so many different niches and it's very easy to get it to do so many different things. So here you see it's calling, it's introducing itself, and then it's saying, we're looking to book a meeting, and here's the purpose of the meetings, again, and the value proposition. And then who is the person that you're meeting with, which will be the SMD in this case, and then just trying to book that meeting onto the calendar. Very simple, yet very proactive. These calls should last less than a minute to 2 minutes. That's it. Goes out, makes the meeting, books that into their calendar, and then it'll stay in there. It'll try again, but we remove people from this workflow if the meeting is booked through a trigger event that gets called. And that's it. This is one of the cool new ways that we've introduced voice into our platform. Okay. Not bad. Hopefully this sparks ideas for you guys too, how you can do it for your clients, and how you can make this work. And of course, if you're a WFG agent, hopefully this sparks more use cases that you can use and start to bring into your organization as well. On that note, my friends, we are back to what I think is the fun part of this show is to talk about the Thinker Think Tank. So let's go and open the door and please ask any questions that you have in the Thinker Think Tank. This is also where we can talk and strategize about any kind of concepts and ideas that you may have as well. Mason, I think you're first.
Awesome. How you doing, Mohan? Thanks for the presentation again. I love these weekly calls.
Good.
First question, and I think this is actually something, who knows, maybe Scott has asked this before, being in the service or trade home services industry as well. But I'm bringing this question to you because we have a hell of a lot of opportunity in front of us as of some meetings we had this morning. So my business partner, Brian, has one of his biggest existing clients that pays him for SEO services. They're a plumbing company that does about 12 million a year. They're in a networking group with 10 to 15 other companies, all doing between 10 to 50 million a year, that are plumbers, roofers, all sorts. In that networking group, over the past 2 weeks, they have let my business partner, Brian, take part in those conversations because of how often he networks with them, just so he can get a sense of what the market is looking for and what those types of guys are looking for. And they have all brought up over the past couple of weeks that they're looking exactly for this. The only thing is that is keeping them from pulling the trigger with us is the fact that we do not have the ability to link with Service Titan, one of the biggest CRMs in the home services space. And so I was wondering, like I said, we got a $20 million water restoration company, $12 million plumbing company, and then 6 other companies that are all do about 10, anywhere between 10 to 50 million a year in the home services space as well. One is a roofing company, all interested in this, all ready to pull the trigger if they said we could link with Service Titan. So I was wondering if that was something that you guys have considered as one of the CRMs, and if so, what that timeline would look like. Because if that's something that would be not, again, it's not a rush thing, but if it could be happen within the next 30 to 60 days, I think there'd be some huge opportunity there. Not just that, but the confirmation we got from them too. Brian was asking, through all of them doing their own individual research, they have only found one other company, one voice AI company that's been able to link with Service Titan thus far that currently offers it in the marketplace. And I had a chance to listen. I forget the name of the company, but Brian showed me their product and some of their recordings. The quality of product is a fraction of the quality that you guys have in terms of the quality of the phone call, how seamless it sounds, how human it sounds. And so I think that would open up a huge opportunity for you guys as well, not just us from the perspective of those people we're networking with, but just to get your foot in the door for home services spaces. I think you guys could dominate since there's really only one other person.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, no, we haven't considered it, but it sounds like we should.
Yes, I would fly to every individual location your team is located and kiss all of you if you were able to add that. Hell of an offer, I know. But
Yeah.
so that was the
Yeah,
first thing.
but do you have a contact there, or can you help us kind of understand what they do? And yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely open. Our team is open. We are talking to multiple people right now about integrations. So we've got a robust API that can be utilized for those integrations. Depending on how I can't talk about the timeline because I don't know how complex it is to integrate,
Right.
of course. But one of the things that we want to be is when you bring us these kind of opportunities, we want to listen, but also be proactive in responding. So the way we're going to start doing this systematically, because again, like I said, you're not the only person coming to us with integration opportunities.
Yeah.
We want to be able to evaluate these very, very quickly and make sure that it's a good thing to kind of follow up on. What would be even greater is if we could come into a strategic kind of, partnership with them where we have a client that's kind of funding that integration as well, right? And that would be the best for all of us involved here so that we can get something out the door, but we're also getting it a lot faster if we can do something like that.
Right. Yeah. So I will touch base with my business partner, Brian, because I know that he personally knows a few people that work for Service Titan. I don't know if they're up high enough in the chain to really help, but they may be able to get us in contact with somebody. And I also don't know what his relationship is like, how strong the relationships are between higher ups in Service Titan with some of those really big guys in the home service space, the guys that actually own the companies I was referring to. So I will definitely touch base with him on that and see if there's a connection I could make there with you guys. But I think that's a huge opportunity. And then, like Scott added, the other two, Service Titan and House Call Pro, are by far the two biggest CRMs in the home services space that would open the floodgates for you guys in the home service space. And like I said, I'm only familiar with that one company, and it was in a way reassuring to hear from all those other companies that company is the only person they've found as well, because they're spending a lot of time trying to find somebody that can do this. And they're not really satisfied with the quality of product. They're willing to use it now just because it's the only one there. But they like what yours sounded like because Brian had a chance to show them that.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it is just how easy we would be able to build out all their different scenarios and use cases, right? So cool. Yeah, no, I think thank you for that, sharing that. I don't have an answer right now, like saying affirmative yes, but we'll definitely follow up and take a look into it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And then I just got a couple other quick ones here. So I wanted to ask if there was ability to gift or share minutes. So on the original Thinker plan, I know you got like 2,000 minutes. You could share them within sub accounts. On the unlimited plan, is that possible? So if I have somebody on a $500 a month subscription, could I say you get 100 minutes and move them? I thought we could, but then I asked the question in the community and I got a response from a member of your team saying that that was not possible yet, but I thought it was.
To gift minutes?
To gift minutes in a sense that, like, if a client signs up for $500 a month, that's the monthly recurring, we'll say they get X amount of minutes that come with that. I would want that first one typically to be paid by me, like it would be cut out of the $500 they give us, and then anything beyond that they would spend. Is that possible?
Yeah, so in terms of the actual admin features to do that, we haven't rolled that out yet. I now understand what you're trying to do. So the answer is it's possible to do that. You'd have to just ask us to maneuver it for you right now, and we can move the minutes into the sub account that you'd like to move it into. So that's the way
Okay.
you would do that. As long as you have the minutes, we can move them to any sub account that you want them to. We're adding, I think it's end of next week is the goal. Admin features that's going to allow an admin to actually move minutes across their different sub accounts. So as long as you own the
Okay.
minutes, you can move them around. What I mean by own the minutes is like if I am a sub account and I bought certain minutes or I purchased certain minutes, you can't move those around, Mason. That belongs to the person. But if you
Yeah.
pay for them, you can put them and you're an admin, you can maneuver them wherever you'd like to.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. And then I'm just gonna fly.
Kind of like gifting.
Right. Yeah. It gets the same outcome. Other quick ones that I had was just so I understand, the inbound receptionist that cannot necessarily be attached to an existing business number that somebody has. We would need a Twilio number for that, just like we do for the outbound folks, correct?
Yeah, so if you're using the same number for the inbound and outbound, it's nice because if you configure it the right way, the inbound will be able to know and recognize the person that called in. Okay, so
Okay.
it can look and say, hey, this is person. The next kind of key feature that we're adding there is it can actually be prompted to say, hey, Mason, nice to see you calling again. Right? So that's where
Okay.
that's. But yeah, if you want to have multiple receptionists, you would need to, and if they have an existing number, GHL provides a way to just forward it, and then you can forward the number that's coming with it at the same time. I've got a lot of questions about that. How do you do that? And that's the best way to do it.
Got it. Okay. And the other one was I didn't really see any videos in there, and I was wondering if, part of this workshop you always go through and do the builds. I was wondering if you could quickly show, or even if it's somewhere else in the community, I can just go there to not take up time here. But if you could show the process for scheduling out a repeated campaign, like a campaign that you build where you want it to call, let's say, these leads that you upload in this campaign list 2 times a day for the next 5 days. Is that something we could look at, or is something we could have a video in the community for scheduling that type of stuff?
I can do, let's take the questions here, but let me answer that question first of all, and by asking you another question. Are you looking to do that? Because you can do that in the Ava platform itself, right? Or you can do that by an automation in GHL.
Okay.
Which one would you?
Either is fine. The first, I guess right now, I just don't know how to do it. That was the first thing. That's why the main reason I asked the question. But then I was also wondering, are there settings in there where you can set it up so it will continue to call somebody until a booking has been made, and then it will remove that person from the campaign to not contact them again, but continue contacting everybody else that has not gotten through to yet?
Yep. Let me see if I can. Would people like to see that in Ava?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that seems interesting. And you like you said, I think you could just do that in GHL too, though, right? I think you
can
do it
do
either way.
GHL. But one of the things that he said, which was really interesting, and this gives us an opportunity to talk about where Ava differentiates itself slightly. So this is a campaign inside. This is the same campaign that we were looking at for the last example. This list of contacts could be as long as you want. You could have thousands of people in here. Okay, I just put one. Look what it says, contacts to reach, right? These are the ones that you haven't reached out yet. They haven't picked up the phone, they're still there. these are the ones that you have reached. So if you had actually contacted somebody, all of those people would be showing here, and you see that. There could be, it wouldn't be one of the following. They either booked the meeting, they either hung up and says thanks but no thanks, or the call ended in a way that it was completed. Those are the three statuses where you'll see them as contacts that have been reached. If there's a voicemail, they didn't pick up the phone, they'll stay in contacts to reach. Okay. Now
Only
you
if the
get
call is answered, basically.
correct. And now you get to configure and set up through the settings on the campaign how you want that to work. So you can come in here and say, okay, the campaign duration, how long should that campaign duration run? You can pick
Ah,
the
I
time.
see.
You can say it's days, hours, months, right? You can run it for as long as you want, and you can tell it to schedule it. So by scheduling, you're literally going into the calendar and the calendar, and you can pick out the day you want it, and you pick out the hours. A little bit of a UI hiccup there, and then you pick out the time and you select that. And now that campaign is scheduled for November 21st at 5:44 p.m. I'll cancel that because it'll call me. Or you can say go right now. Okay. And you can say how often you want that to go, daily, hourly, monthly. So I can say I want that to go daily and I want to go there. It'll make that call on a regular basis. So it basically does exactly what you says, keeps on trying and trying and trying for a whole month if you want, and tries to reach out to them. So that's how you do that inside of Ava.
Awesome. I
And
really appreciate that.
no problem. And I think the question, what Larry said is absolutely true. You can also set up an automation that can do that as well. But most automations you tend to you just use the wait step.
Yeah, it seems easier in Ava, quite frankly.
And that's what I was
You just
hoping
shut-
for.
I mean-
That's why I wanted to.
Yeah,
That's the whole reason
yeah.
I wanted to see it in Ava, because I'm trying to avoid to have to go through the headache of building something super complicated out in a workflow. So
Yeah.
this is great.
Again, the idea is that you can just start using this right away and get business impact. Obviously, there are advantages to doing it inside of GHL and why you want to do that for other reasons like post manipulation of data and whatnot. But this gives you the ability to, and again, we do support webhooks as well inside of Ava. I don't know how many of you have seen this before, but if you do want to do it
I
through a
didn't know.
webhook, yeah, you can come into here and you just go to your integration settings and you put that webhook into here. That means that even after the call is finished for every contact and you want to do something bespoke or customized inside of GHL, you can still do that even if you run it from here, which is the reason why we have this, right?
So that
We all,
webhook will be triggered anytime a call has ended after it was successfully reached somebody. That's when it's triggered.
that is correct.
Got it. Understood.
And if you're familiar with JSON, you'll get the payload, and then you can extract from that the status and the transcript and all those good things. And they come as variables in GHL, just like you see it today with the trigger. It's the same way it shows up.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Cool.
All right,
Great question.
cool. I have a couple others, but I already asked enough. I want to let other people go first, and then if there's time for me to come back, I will. So I'm going to pass the torch to whoever was next. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in the Thinker Think Tank, Mesa.
Yes, yes, of course.
All right, Eric, off to you.
Yeah, could you open up the HVAC sales agent again?
Of course. Yeah. Do you want to see the configurations or what do you want to see here?
Yeah, well, I was looking to see what you used, but I just figured it out. Larry was right. I used the wrong one. I clicked on strategic sales opportunity, and then when I had done that, I was like, I'm not getting key inclusions, none of these. But now I know why.
No problem. Yeah. So it's a generic sales closer. Yeah.
Yeah. My other question was, how do we change the billing info for our account with you guys?
You mean like if you want to switch up your credit card or something like that?
Yes.
You'd have to log into your Nico account, and that's where your billing information is. And then you can switch up your credit cards there.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. That's it.
Cool. Good question. Scott.
Good evening,
Oh,
Mohan. How are you?
I gotta do this. Eric, thank you for participating in the Thinker Think Tank. All right, off to you, Scott.
I love it. That's awesome. First of all, I hadn't played with the advanced scheduler. That is awesome. It solves a need that I have for tomorrow morning. Like Mason, I am working, as you know, with some very large players in the game. Um, and I didn't even think to talk to you about direct integration with Service Titan because we're trying to do a connection through GHL to Service Titan right now. So I second Mason. Service Titan House Call Pro direct integrations would be phenomenal.
Cool. Okay.
That part is great. And I also wanted to let you know that what you built for me this week came into play again today. That's a game changer. And I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but if you do,
Go
I I
ahead.
was I was able, so I came to Mohan this week and said, look, I've got a client that needs to do data ingestion with an AI assistant, meaning inbound, capture the data, summarize the data, and be able to push it where we want to work with it. And I had 16 data points that I needed on a phone call. And in 2 days, Mohan had a prompt for me and a way that I could demo that. And we showed it off on a call yesterday. I think it was yesterday, the day before, when GHL was having a hiccup on their inbound API. And I was having to pivot very quickly in a phone call from chat to voice. And the voice performed like a champ, which got us to a second meeting today and is moving us forward to a third discussion next week to integrate both. So first of all, thank you. Second of all, I'm probably going to be bringing you even more complicated things from that, but it is great. But no, I more than anything, I want so many questions as a thank you for all you did this week because that really moved us forward in a very, very big way.
Very happy to do so. No problem.
And then the schedule, again, the advanced schedule, which you just showed, is going to be very integral. I agree with Mason, as we're working with these large companies, being able to pivot, I haven't found anything with the quality out there even close to have a discussion. And I keep getting from people, God, that's almost creepy. It's so real.
The thing
So
that I want
thank you.
to highlight that you said, which I think just so everybody understands what this is, because this scenario, of course, any scenario we make is not just for Scott. It'll be available to everybody. So, Scott just had the need, and I think that's part of what I want to make sure people understand what the thinker think tank's about. When you come up with great ideas and use cases, it's for all of us, so we all get to win together. And the thinker think tank, this particular use case that Scott came up with. I I can dream up a million use cases for it, literally. There's you basically are getting somebody who can call and ask questions, and then you collect that data back and store it whichever way you want to and do post actions on it. Whether you're doing those actions in a payload somewhere else or you're doing that inside of GHL. That is massive, right? Think of all the people that call and ask questions all the time and collect survey information. You guys can disrupt that industry. So all of that is and that's what Scott's doing. He's disrupting his client's world by basically solving a pain point that nobody's frankly eloquently done. And yeah, I absolutely agree. Couple that with the voice quality that we have, and you've got a killer product to offer to people. So fantastic, Scott. Thank you for bringing that to us.
One quick question for you. If I build something in Thinker like you just showed, and we do the automation the way you did it, I know if I build the automation in GHL, it will push it into Thinker. If I build it in Thinker, will it push to GHL?
It's coming. It's a popular request, mostly by me, because I
Me
would
too.
love that.
Yeah.
Keep on telling my dev team I'd love to have this. It's just got to get prioritized. But yeah, it's absolutely something that we're gonna do.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you. I know Mason has more questions. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Okay, Urshad's got a question.
Hey, just real quick, just to kind of follow on with what Scott's saying. So if I have, and it's the scenario that I sent to you. So if I have a complex scenario like that and I attempt to solve it on my own, and I can't quite pull it off, do I have the opportunity to reach out to you to kind of have you just give it a once over? I mean, something like that is
Of
so
course.
large
Yeah.
to put
Oh,
at
yeah.
risk.
There's a couple things you can do. You're already familiar with our help disk, so if you put that in there, we'll get that the fastest way. The nice thing is when you do that, a ticket gets created for us, and then it goes into the system, gets like the dev team sees it, I see it, the whole team sees it. So that's the good thing about that. But yeah, if you we can also like if you want to book a call and just discuss your ideas, that's also possible. We open our doors to that as well. Yeah,
Okay.
Scott does it even worse. He just what which is like, Scott, what are you doing, man? Gotta send me a ticket.
And where is that help desk? Because I've been doing it that way since day one.
Help.thinker.ai. Thinker with 2 R's.
I will
Yeah.
behave moving forward.
Go ahead. Sorry, Shad. I didn't want to cut you off. Yes, absolutely. We're open to that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And again, it does depend on the complexity because again, every idea that you guys bring, we don't I mean if you just want that for yourself, then that's a paid engagement, right? And that's something unique. But if it's something that will benefit the whole community, we'll put it on our bucket list, and depending on if we can or not, we'll get that done. But there's a different way to do that.
Well,
Especially
so with his scenario, I mean, he's basically his whole business with the Chamber of Commerce is helping small to medium-sized businesses. So it's an AI centered support for entrepreneurism. And I think what they want to do is start here in Florida, but use this as kind of a,
propagate
a test case and then move it to other chambers, probably throughout the state, maybe throughout the Southeast region, maybe nationally. But they have already these other AIs. I get it was Plod and Sana AI, where they're capturing all this information, but they're trying to help these businesses create this innovative canvas and lean canvases for their businesses. And
Yeah.
so Ava is like the last mile for them. They didn't know that they could do this. So basically it's, hey, I'm calling in. I have a question about my canvas and I want to set up a time to talk to somebody, but the AI is asking them questions and qualifying that call. So I guess the biggest thing for me is being able, I think I heard it, being able to take that call and push that from Ava back to GHL. So that way I don't have to give up my access to Ava for him to see these call recordings. Am I correct in that assumption too?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you could even do it the opposite way. You can just build it out right away into GHL. The scenario that you would use for something like that, if I understood it correctly, I'll just share my screen. You can see this, right? Can I still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
The scenario that I would recommend you start experimenting with is this one. And it's called the qualification scheduler. And it does exactly that. It will ask a whole bunch of questions, both disqualification questions or capture questions. Let's see if I got a good example for you. Yeah, I built one last week. This one is an example that is basically a creator brand matching event for an influencer marketer. They come in again, they ask some greetings, introduction, reason for the appointment, all standard stuff, right? But then it gets into the questions that they want to ask, right? And here you can see the first question is, are you currently responsible for influencer partnership at the company? If they say they are not, then it says disqualify them. And it will stop the call right there. Sorry, somebody's got unmuted. But that's how that works. But you can also do something different where you can go and ask questions like, how many influencer partnerships do you manage quarterly? That's what we call data gathering or capture questions. And you can basically toggle between a capture question and a disqualification question. You leave the answer blank for capture questions because we're capturing the information, right? And that will help you to do that. Okay. So you can ask up to 8 questions with this particular scheduler right now. And I think it might fit the bill. If you need something a bit more tweaked, then we can talk. But I would start there and see if this helps you.
And then
Cool.
did you say the integration with the webhook is what you use to take all these answers and put them into GHL? Did I understand that correct?
Let me quickly show you that. So we'll just switch over to something different here. I'm going to show you. in Ava voice dummer. So if you've got the snapshot, you have this already. But you might not know that you had it. This is essentially an example of, again, I've just built another qualifier in here. This one's for a car dent repair shop, right? And the way this one works is it's basically, let me just do this for you. The same thing, right? But now look at how it looks. It's the same Ava scenarios that you have in Ava. The event attendance, the custom multiplier, topic scheduler, the qualification scheduler, even the one that we just did the whole demo on, the generic sales closer is all there, right? When you pick one of this, it will dynamically put all the right fields below for you. And then you can just populate your script right here, and that's inside of GHL. So you don't need to do it in Ava if you don't want to. You can do it directly here as an action. Why would you do it like this? Because, well, first of all, you same thing, you got your disqualification questions or your capture questions, all that stuff. But then you can do fancy dancy GHL manipulations on it. And a lot of people want to be able to do that. And that's what makes this such a powerful system, because you can do both. You have the best and the ease of use to learn how to do it inside of Ava, but then you can take that same ease of use and plug that into GHL. And people keep on asking me, like, what's the difference? This is the difference. These are plug and play units that you just put in, like little apps that you can put into here that just do exactly what you want to do and take minutes to set up and configure. Right? That's the big advantage here and big differentiator. Now, when that call is completed and somebody has made a call and you want to process that call based on the status of the call, this is where you come. So here's a very simple example. Again, all of this has been sent inside of the snapshots that you already have, and it's a trigger. And what we do is when the trigger is done, it's a completed call. We just say, okay, this one takes all of them and says, select the call status. And then here you can see all the different types of call statuses that you get back, whether it's a callback has been requested, whether it's completed, was there an issue dialing the number, was the meeting booked, was nobody answering it, was there voicemail, and so on and so forth. All those are there. Now this particular one was just set up as a custom value. So what I do is I update the call status, which I can extract through this nice feature that Go High Level provides us with, which is all the Ava Voice AI payload, nice and easily broken down to you into these beautiful, easy to read labels. So you can literally see you've got the call status there, you've got the meeting location, the meeting duration. You can even bring in the URL for the meeting location, and you can put that into your notes and do whatever you want. In fact, that's kind of what I do. So you see in this example, I just checked for the meeting being booked. I find that contact and I update on the contact some certain custom value fields that I have there for them. You could also just put it into a note and do it that way, right? So lots and infinite amounts of opportunities. You could even take that transcript, take a GHL GPT option and do work on it that way as well, right? So again, infinite possibilities of what you can do, and you've got the best of both worlds. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Mohan.
Are there more questions? I see Base still has his hand up. We're still in the Thinker Think Tank. So Ershad, thank you for participating in the Thinker Think Tank.
I have a couple more if nobody else has any.
Okay, go for it.
All right. The first one is, are there any scenarios right now that can handle booking to multiple calendars?
Not yet, but it's being in development. That's what I'll say.
On the horizon? Okay.
I won't give
All
you a
right.
time.
Okay.
We're focusing on inbound first for that.
Okay.
Do you have an outbound, Mason, that you're thinking about?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry. The audio cut out for me.
Is your use case for inbound or outbound?
I was thinking about inbound. Yeah. So depending on the scenario, if they're looking to speak to a specific person or a specific department or whatever the case may be, they can they can be sent off in the right direction or booked in the right
So
place.
the two things that we have as user stories for this, which is me speaking dev talk now. The stories are about being able to, I'm a doctor, calling into a doctor's office or an office with multiple physicians that I want to contact, and I want to either have a live transfer to their direct lines, right? So that's also what we're adding as an action. But I might want to also book a meeting with that particular doctor, and therefore we have this is Dr. A's, calendar, this is Dr. B's calendar, and this is Dr. C's calendar. So that's how we're
Got it.
envisioning
Okay.
giving you
Okay.
the flex.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next one was, will there at any point, by chance be the ability to change the like SaaS upcharge on the cost per minute based on sub account rather than just one overall agency level? I was curious about that, depending on how we want to offer in different companies that we're working with.
Yeah. So our first, like, this is complex stuff we're building. So the first scenario we're doing is, and this will be coming out in the release that comes next week. You'll be able to have your base price and then set a price that you can charge all the other sub accounts. The next iteration of that we'll put into the backlog is what you asked for, is to customize it per. But the nice thing is you can toggle your own sub account so you're not charging yourself a surcharge, right?
Yeah,
So
that's what we spoke about the other day. The I was getting that with our main account. I was getting charged 20 cents instead of 18, and then and from there I was thinking further down along the line of how we might want to bill certain clients depending on their needs or depending on how we want to display our offers in different ways. And some, if we're like, let's say, just letting them do a trial of some sort, well, maybe instead of charging 20 cents a minute, I want to do 40 cents or, just something for somebody to try it out. If we're doing something completely for free, just toying around with that. So that's where that thought came from. And then, okay, cool. And then lastly, I believe this is my last question, came with a lot today, is, and maybe this is a question more so for the other people here, perhaps that have already sold it or already have it plugged in for other people. I know you have it already plugged in, obviously, for people in the financial space and everything already, Mohan. But has any consideration, when I think of the home services guys, a lot of them live off of SEO if they have a solid SEO presence. So the stuff they get through their website, their Google business page calls and things like that. And I tend to think about that anyway, because that's the other thing that we specialize in, helping guys with. So from that perspective, when I thought about inbound agents, and part of the reason I asked that first question I did at the beginning of the think tank about, do you have to have a separate number or is there any way to use the existing number, is because technically speaking, changing the number, buying a new Twilio number for an inbound receptionist and then changing that on their website and on their Google page will solve the issue of them not getting to the inbound receptionist. You'll get the inbound receptionist now. The problem that it may cause, though, is it may have a negative effect, especially on a larger company that does put a lot of money into SEO, by affecting all of their backlinks and things of that nature that tie to those. They're called citations. So they typically tie to your business name, phone number, address, all that stuff all has to be synchronous across all the citations across the web. And if you go and change that, that could possibly negatively impact those. And so I was wondering if anybody here has come up with any sort of cool number forwarding or any other technology that helps with plugging this into their existing number somehow, so you could get around possibly having that negative impact.
Well, could they port the number over, number one, and number two, you already said it, could they forward it to the new number? Because then, yeah, the name, address, phone number, the NAP on their citations will be impacted for lack of consistency.
Well, I guess I'm also not familiar with how the average business owner gets their number, and maybe it would be dependent on what they're using or how they got their number. Because if they got their number through a service that's like Twilio, where you could do forwarding, that solves it right there. But if not, then you wouldn't be able to do it, because then the inbound receptionist number would always have to be the forward facing number on the site and the Google business page. And that's what needs to be synchronous across all online citations.
Right. No, I get that. What the easiest way you can find out is just ask the question to the business owner, who is your phone provider? If they say I'm with AT&T, now you know. With AT&T, you can say, how do you do call forwarding? And then they'll say, well, when we're after hours, we forward the calls to X person's cell phone for whatever, for emergency problems. So now you know through those questions that it's forwardable. If somebody were to call that number, and Mohan can validate what I'm about to ask on the back end, I'm just trying to find a solution. But if we forward that number to the thinker number, it should technically pick up and be voice AI from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to make sure you pass the call through number through. But yes, otherwise, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's a bigger company, they'll probably have multiple telephone lines, probably like anywhere between like 10 and 21 or so for outbound purposes and inbound support and stuff. Just pick one that's like their fax machine number, for example. They might still have a fax. Use that as a test pilot to forward and then go from there.
So you should be able to forward it from a GHL number too, right? If you buy a number in GHL and then forward it to whatever their normal number is. So like you could, so how we're looking at doing this exact thing, right? Is like we'd have a GHL number, which forwards to the AVA number, which AVA's number then forwards to whatever number they normally use. And so if they forward at the end of the night or whatever, it'll just go through and it gets tracked the whole way. For NAP consistency, because I've been in the SEO game as well for a long time, it's really not, especially for the Google business profile, really not that important anymore for phone numbers, right? Like you can have whatever, they allow you to have 3 phone numbers on the Google business profile because they realize most companies don't have one phone number these days. It's like, yeah, most people don't, right? And so the phone part of the NAP isn't really that big of a deal. Like it really, we change people's Google business profile numbers like all the time. And it does, I mean, you can have their primary number as the secondary number in their Google business profile, and it doesn't affect anything at all. So not really a concern in my mind. So, and I work with the home service guys too. So we're in that industry.
Yeah, the concern I had with the citations is the citations that we're building, like some of the backlinks and things we're able to get and citations that link to things on Howls and some bigger platforms. We have some connections there that allow us to get citations and blogs on those sites. And I don't want to have to go back to all of those people and say, hey, I want this phone number to be synchronous across all of them. I do understand the fact that you could take the GHL number and forward it that way, but I was looking to do it the opposite way. And I just didn't have the understanding. I understand where you're coming from, Rahul, of, talking to AT&T or whatever the case may be, whatever company they're using for their number, and seeing just forwarded directly from the line there, because that would solve the issue immediately. And it also would just look cleaner. You wouldn't have people calling one number and then calling the second number on the Google business page or third number, even though it may not affect you in a negative impact. It would also just kind of streamline the process, and also past clients not getting confused. There's a different number to call or whatever the case may be.
Cool.
So I think that covers it for me then. I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper with those clients to see what they're using, those bigger guys. But I think that is it for all of my questions.
I think you brought up a whole great set of questions for the Thinker Think Tank. Your participation today was awesome. Thank you so much, Mason.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And on that note, I'm going to call it a meeting adjourned, or the Thinker Think Tank adjourned, as they like to call it. Really awesome having so many people show up and ask such great questions, and we'll keep this going. See you next week, same time.
Mohan, real quick. I can't get access to Nico.
Oh, yes.
Take my email. Remember, we had that problem before we kind of switched over to GHL, but I can't get access. I know we changed the email address on our call, and I try to use that email and it won't work.
Okay, we'll connect after this. I'll send you an email.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
And one last thing, Mohan, would you be able to possibly send me a message? I don't know if I still have your number or not, but if I have a connection with somebody at Service Titan, I would love to send that information over to you directly through text instead of it getting lost in like a Zoom chat or something. Is that all right if I text that information to you directly or give you a ring?
100%. Yeah, and you've got any email that I send out has my number on the bottom of it.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. I'll touch base with them. I'm gonna actually prioritize this for tomorrow, see if I can get an answer by as early as tomorrow, and then I'll let you know.
Sounds
You
great.
may as well just group text us because I know you'll text Mohan and say, "Hey, I text Mohan." So just group text us.
I might as well. I know Scott's really interested in this too, so I'll send him a
Oh
message
yeah,
too, and
you
I'll
can
loop
snap me that
everybody in.
chain. Just put me
Yeah,
on
I'll
that
loop
chain.
everybody
I
in.
want to know.
Yeah, because that'd be a huge foot in the door for, you know, somebody, I forget who put it in the chat earlier, but like
What
20,
we can do,
20 some 30 different. What was
Go
that?
ahead. I was just gonna suggest something that's really cool way to keep. There's a group of people that want to be on that. We can create a channel inside the community that's private, and whoever wants to be added to can be added to it. But that way, it's just we have it there and it's stored, and we can like talk through these types of great ideas, especially for pursuing this.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
So
and
let me
like-
a quick question on the chat function. Like, how do you get alerted without like, is it send an email or text on that chat function? Because when I was messaging like Dana when I was first going back and forth with you, Dana, like I'd log in, then I have to click on it proactively. Like, is there a way to get an alert on those chats in the community?
Well, so the best thing to do, Rahul, honestly, the thing that I love about that entire feature is this collab app. I get all my
Oh,
notifications on here like
okay.
all the time.
Okay.
So like yes, yeah. I recommend downloading the app and then you just turn the
Okay.
notification. Really good job on here. In terms of email, I think you have to configure it to email you everything and then it will do that. But if you didn't, it
Okay.
doesn't do that by yeah.
Okay, I'll just do the app because I don't check my email that often anymore.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, perfect.
Hey,
All right,
guys,
gents and ladies.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you,
Bye, guys.
everybody. Thanks, Mohan.
Yeah, no problem.